The KPO space that we are in has certainly flourished.
Cost of having the cheapest employee you could possibly have has gone up by 41%.
The ideal customer service model feels quite old school now because I believe the property management teams don't necessarily have the amount of time available to them.
You're not using them to replace the human, you're using them to enhance the human.
It comes back to the basics of putting the right person in the right roles.
Hello and welcome to the Affordable Staff Podcast. Hello, Lisa.
Hi, David. How are you?
I'm good, except I've been getting sick by all these flus going around. I think I'm potentially onto my fourth one now. All different types, not just flus or whatever else they're called. And it's sort of reminds me that COVID's not happening anymore.
Yes, one of the paths, but it's funny, every second person I'm talking to has either got it, getting over it, and here I am in sunny Brisbane.
Yes.
I may have brought a little bit of weather with me, but for anybody that's listening and not watching, I am sounding a little bit more congested than usual.
Yes. The meeting that I had this morning, the suggestion was that COVID lockdowns would be the best way to stop the spread. They weren't from Melbourne.
They weren't from Melbourne. Don't blame Melbourne.
Yes.
Melbourneites.
Yes. Oh, well, I'm not blaming Melbourne or your premier that you had at the time. Anyway. So we missed last month's episode, but we did but didn't, because we had like a double episode. We had I had the podcast with Seth, our auditor, and we also met when we were in the Philippines, but our paths just did not cross for a month.
Last month was chaotic with events and travel, and it's been
lots of activity.
It's been really busy.
Yes.
All good busy.
So we're going to talk about a couple of topics today. Ones that are probably, one of them is really prevalent to right now, which is in relation to some of the announcements around the budget and the minimum wage increase of the current government. Thank you, current government, for saying they've got to pay people more money.
Yeah.
So good. I'll foot the bill.
For anybody that's on social media, it's been, as soon as the budget was announced, there are various different angles and perceived challenges from it.
Yes.
This one I haven't seen too much publicity about, so it's really one that's good for us to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. So the national minimum wage in Australia is now up to $26.44 per hour, with award wages up 4.75% from the 1st of July. A full-time adult on the national minimum wage now costs around about $58,525 a year, including 12% super. So that's an increase of $3,314 on last year before payroll tax, workers' comp, leave loading, or overheads.
Some of the things that you've listed there, David, things that when clientele are looking at outsourcing, they don't necessarily always calculate when they're comparing offshore versus onshore.
Yes, because we're a set fee, and we take care of everything within that set fee, including all the overheads, their desks, the security, the IT infrastructure, the whole thing, whole kit and caboodle, all included in one fee, just to make it nice and simple.
Nice and simple, but also a different category
Yes.
of expense to a business, rather than be staff, a business expense, keeping it nice and simple.
Yeah, and I think the other important thing to note is you have industry, right? So in the real estate industry, there are benchmarks around how much a business makes, and then how much it profits. We fit within exactly the same as a majority of the other people within the outsourcing space. Look, when you look at it comparatively, the amount we pay people, same. The overheads, a little bit more if you're office based, because if you're office based, it means that you're not going to. It means that your office based, there's additional costs, right? Like security guards, for example, and facilities, and all these things that make the service the 99.9% uptime guarantee. Mm-hmm. That's where that all comes in.
Absolutely. And you think about having been to the Philippines a few times and had many conversations around the overheads, both internal but also external, with clients asking a few extra questions, which we always welcome. The additional costs that people don't always think about, which we do have, backup generators, a couple of internet providers, all of the bells and whistles in the office to make it a really favourable place to be in every day.
Yeah, and then you look at it as a cold, hard cost, right? And I think I mentioned in a previous episode, I think it was episode 15, that if you were to compare from 2014 to now, uh, the cost of having the cheapest employee you can possibly have has gone up by 41%. Hence the reason why the demand for, the service that we offer is continuing to remain strong, because there are alternatives. And I'm not talking about getting rid of jobs from Australians. I remember when we started at conferences around 14 years ago. I think it might have been our first conference we attended. And people were coming up and they were saying, "Oh, this is, I'm disgusted by what you're doing." And I'm like, "What am I doing?" And then like, you're taking jobs from Australia. And I was like, "Who do you bank with?" "Oh, ANZ." "Okay, when you call them, who answers?" "Oh, someone from overseas." "Okay, then why don't you take your money out of that bank?" "Oh, because they all do that." "Okay, well, this is introducing it to this industry." And you look at the evolution now, where you have the people that are performing the higher high yielding tasks, and the tasks that really help support a business, because what we're all doing here is running businesses. As a business owner myself, working with other business owners, what we're doing is we're looking at ways in which we can increase profitability or sustainability of a business. And that's where you look at alternate solutions for, you've got your high yield people that are performing tasks that will make a higher yield, and then you've got your lower yield tasks, giving you the ability to offshore them to people overseas. But the important thing to note around that is the types of tasks that people are offshoring overseas, they are becoming more complex in nature as well, purely because there's a shortage in being able to get talent.
Mm. And then you think about the advancements that we've had within the vast majority of the industries that we work with. Tech continues to grow, and AI coming into the space, of which is making the virtual assistant space, I think, more and more appealing, because VAs are being able to become even more efficient
Yes.
in how they're partnering with their client.
And um, interesting concept, and we're going to jump around the task that we're going to discuss, because when you talk about that AI component, there's a couple of stats. 43% of Australian SMEs reported some level of AI adoption. That was a report from the National AI Centre. Only 12% of organisations say AI is genuinely transforming their business. Adoption mostly means experimental use, not deep integration. Now that's a very interesting stat within Australia, because there is another stat out there that 79% of AI users report productivity improvements, but 65% of non-adopters cite distrust of AI making the AI decision making or preference for human control. So Australia still is in that space where there's a resistance to adoption, if you were to call it that, and the understanding of the use of AI that people have, and you almost call the what's happened over the last couple of years in relation to AI almost like a bubble which has occurred, and because you saw all this AI, all these AI opportunities coming out, and so many businesses invested so heavily in AI, and then they got it to this particular stage. But what they didn't invest in is the empowering of the human, the showing the human how to interact and how to use it best. So they got to the stage and they're like, "Here, use this,"
Hmm.
and I was like, "Whoa, no, hang on, I don't." Any process or flow of change which is defined within business, you need to follow steps to lead people along a path of change, rather than getting to a place where you're just like, "But." So that's why 65% of non-adopters cite distrust of AI decision making, and then the SME rate their workforce readiness for AI at just 3.5 out of 10 today.
That's a little bit sad. I'm going to provide a little bit of insight to a weekend that I just had.
Yes.
And I certainly personally can attest to exactly what you've just mentioned. I think everybody learns differently. We have different natural learning styles. I'm a visual learner, and being able to have adapted to AI in my day to day work and life, personal life, it's been through seeing how other people have used it. You're certainly one of those people that have shown me, and we've used a variety of different AIs. I was on a weekend away with some girls, and we got talking about work and life, and I mentioned some of the AI tools that we were using and how I was using it in everyday work to be able to literally totally transform where I'm now able to spend most of my time. and they were totally blown away with how simple it was. And I'm, as anybody that's followed this journey knows, that I'm not the tech person. David's very much the tech guy. Uh, and yeah, to be able to give them a little bit of insight and trust into leaning in, exactly what you're saying, that the AI platforms don't necessarily invest as much as I think they should in adoption.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's why every person that we employ, we're putting them through different methodologies to become AI enabled, which is
Mm.
an important thing for us. So in that scenario, who lost a job?
In my scenario,
Yeah.
nobody. If anything, we're enhancing different opportunities for people.
Yes.
As I'm being able to either do things, and whenever we onboard a new client, I always say we've got two different things to talk about. The mandatory things that need to be passed on, which I've certainly passed on to AI. And then what's in that bottom drawer of, if I had a little bit more time, I'd like to get to that.
Yes.
If that needs to be done by a person when we're onboarding a new client, then let's get it out and make it what we call VA friendly. I've been able to look at two different things. We've got a fantastic team that support the sales sector here at Affordable Staff. We live and breathe what we offer, but then I've been able to utilize AI to be able to enhance things and create so much more efficiency.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's one of the keys is to use it for enhancement. The there are so many podcasts out there on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you like to listen to your podcasts, Spotify for us, that are touting the destruction of the human race. I think it's, obviously it creates news, it creates fear, yet the necessity of keeping the human is important. And the ways in which you've discussed that you're using AI, the ways in which I'm using AI, it's really helping me to enhance what I already. It's like taking a table full of paperwork and it just being thrown all over the table, and you're trying to understand and interpret the information which is on that table. And AI is giving you the ability to bring it all together and to access different components of those materials quickly and effectively.
Mm.
And that's something that you wouldn't employ a human to stack all the things into piles and all that sort of stuff. You could get a data analyst, they pay someone a high-end fee to do data analysis, but small businesses can't afford that.
Well, it's not even necessarily about the cost, it's about time. The analogy you've used is actually very, very good, because with knowledge comes power. And I'm finding that for me, AI is giving me more knowledge.
Yes.
And knowledge that is presented in a way that I need it. So the table full of paper, I need to be able to create a report and have it set in a particular way. Here's all of the knowledge,
Yes.
and to be able to present it. If you had the same access to that knowledge, but you need it presented in a different way, it's getting it done, providing knowledge.
Yes, and so we're talking about the human still being important, right?
Mm.
Now let's look at property management.
Yes.
That's interesting, right? So property management staff turnover is running at 35% nationally versus about 25% across the real estate industry. So, and 23% of property managers intend to leave the industry entirely, nearly double the 2018 figure, and over a quarter are expected to exit within 5 years, the highest attrition outlook of any sector in Australia. And I think you had some stats as well around the number of people that are looking and seeking these roles as well.
Yeah, it's actually when we were talking about today, I did jump on and have a quick look at some stats. And Seeks, everybody knows who Seek is, the employment dashboard was showing that the real estate and property management was one of the strongest growing industries for job adverts, increasing by 11.8% month on month, being one of the top 3 sectors. Now, that's a trend that has only continued to grow.
Correct. And you can see why. 62.3% of property managers feel underpaid, and 49.2% receive minimal or no raise in the last year.
I don't have stats on this, but I certainly can speak to the conversations that I'm involved in. And whilst I definitely agree that there is a perception of being underpaid, there is as strong a feeling of feeling undervalued or utilised in a way that just doesn't demonstrate their skills and what they believe that they are there to within that role to provide.
And that's exactly it. Because I mean, you have a look at how much compliance there is in play across many industries now, especially in Australia, because Australia loves introducing additional compliance to things. All that additional compliance means that someone has to do the work. And if someone's doing that work, are they doing all the other things they used to do beforehand to help, again, sustain their role, sustain the business, allowing the business to be able to, get to a place where it's profitable and that it's flourishing, and the business owners, they're getting a little bit of benefit from it, 49% benefit, I believe, of it, and the rest is going to someone else. Um, the like if that's happening, something's got to give. And that's what we're finding within our space is we have clients that are coming to us and they're just saying to me, like, I've had to increase the number of properties that a property manager is managing. They're managing 150 properties now. And you think how sustainable that is across the nuances of all the unique things that occur within the property management space. And if that's actually sustainable for that to continue to happen. And that's where we come in, where we offer all of that admin support stuff. Again, talking about high yield and low yield tasks, the property manager, that's an important relationship. It's almost like back when banks used to offer customer service and the tellers were there and they would have their customers coming in every single day, and then they were managing and working with and dealing with those customers, and they know your name. Where I live in a country town, my bank knows my name. We still have 2 banks there, and I walk in and they're like, "Hey David, what can we do today?" So it's that personalized touch that they have. Banks went to a scenario where they started to squeeze, and they're bigger institutions. So when they make change, and there's not a whole lot of them, so when they do make change, they each of them, like the big 4, as they say, they were able to collectively, as an industry, shift banking across to what it is today, where there's no service. Now, the property management space and the real estate space, there is so much competition out there that unlike the big 4, all you have to do is differentiate yourself a little bit. First of all, do this little thing called customer service, and then and if you take care of your client being your tenant as well as your the owner of the property, then you're going to be developing something which is special and unique. That needs a support mechanism that's running in the background. So as Lisa is picking up the phone to talk to this particular client, everything's already there for them. They already know everything about them. And when they're picking up the phone, it's like, "Hey David, how are you? How are the kids?" Excellent. So enabling the people in that space, in the real estate property management space, enabling them to be higher yield.
What's really sad, David, is what you've just described as the ideal customer service model feels quite old school now, because I believe that the property management teams don't necessarily have the amount of time available to them. As you've said, we've got compliance, we've got all these additional hats that they need to wear. You referenced 150 properties. That's actually with extra layers of support behind them. We've talked about tools and tech, but there's also, in some instances, 150 properties can sometimes have other elements of support, like an outsourced inspection provider or something similar. That's still quite a high number, and especially with the legislation changes across the eastern seaboard at the moment, it's adding additional tasks that were not a part of that space even 12 months ago.
Yeah, which is really quite fascinating. We because of the nature of our clients and our clients' employees, we talk to a number of property managers that get purchased by bought out by another brand, and then that's the squeeze starts to happen, where they start to really push down that whole devaluing them as an individual, and then just making making them that number. Giving them the things that they have to get done every single day. Okay, well, I can't do that over 8 hours. Okay, but that's what you got to get done. So that's what I'm telling you need to do in order to be a property manager or to be in this industry. Is squeezing them out. You can see why. And then they're leaving, and then they're going to another agency where there is value, there is support, and it's different. So I think as an industry, if you want it to remain client centric, if you do want to be able to offer the client experience, then this is the direction that I believe a lot of businesses should be going. The high yield tasks, that gives people satisfaction, that gives them empowerment as well. And it's not saying that the team overseas they're not experiencing satisfaction or empowerment as either, because they're growing and they're learning as time goes on as well.
Absolutely. It comes back to the basics of putting the right person in the right roles. If we're spending more money on a particular role, they should be doing things that are going to be of the best benefit to the business. Not to say that the VA space don't provide the quality within their role, but they're employed to do a particular job. And for affordable staff, we're hiring the perfect fit for that role.
Yes.
We're not looking to employ a property manager to do a VA's job.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. That leads me through to our final topic, which is talking about a trend which is occurring. So there are two terms. There's BPO and then there's KPO. BPO, business process outsourcing. That's generally call centers and all that type of stuff. Then there's KPO, knowledge process outsourcing. Now, there's been an increasing trend. The global knowledge, the global knowledge process outsourcing market is worth around about between 104 to 127 billion in 2026. That's up from 90 billion in 2025. KPOs, that's forecast to grow at around about 20% between 2030 to 2035. That's allowing for AI trends to occur the way that they are at the moment. The Philippine IT BPM sector earned roughly 40 billion in 2025 and employs about 1.9 million people. And these are people that are performing tasks that, again, so we're talking about the high yield tasks, and then we're talking about some of the low yield tasks and the complexity of those low yield tasks and the ability for people overseas to be able to complete those now. So this is the opposite of saying we want to shrink the workforce in Australia. No, we want to improve the workforce in Australia, give them real opportunities to be able to experience and skill at a different level, and as they're going along, teaching people. It's the ultimate sign of it's the ultimate sign of a leader. As in, it's the ultimate sign of a leader is based on how well the leader can delegate.
I'm going to say for anybody listening that some of what David's just said may have gone a little bit over your head when we're talking about new words, KPO and BPO.
Yes.
Now, this is common dialogue for us.
Yes, it is.
BPO, just for the everyday listener, I would say, in my opinion, would be the Optus or the Telstra.
Yep.
Those annoying phone calls where you instantly think, oh, it's an overseas call centre. Whereas KPO being administration.
Yes.
Keeping it nice and simple.
Yeah.
We find ourselves in the KPO space.
That's correct. Lots of words.
Lots of words, and I could hear some of the people that compliment us on our podcast going, what's David talking about? But yes, the KPO space that we are in has certainly flourished. It's becoming more of an asset.
Yeah, it is. And it just shows, if anything, it shows the maturity of the market. Because again, 14 years ago when I was at the first conference and people were disgusted by me, now as adoption is continuing to deepen, the ability and options for people are continuing to deepen. Talking around some of the stuff that we're discussing around AI-enabled VAs, as we call it, AI-enabled people offshore, giving them the tools from an AI perspective enables them to be able to deepen what they're doing a lot more. Like we said beforehand, all the pieces of paper that are just sitting strewn across the table, giving them the ability to be able to access that and to be able to interpret it for you and to be able to assist you in the steps of the role that you're playing. Still sticking obviously with compliance and all the rules that we have in place. So they're not a final person who can push the button to approve everything, but they can prepare everything in such a way, the way that your business wants it. They can prepare it and have it ready there for you, so you can have a look over it, make sure everything's okay, and you can submit it. Taking something which would have taken you or an individual 5 hours to complete, this person with AI enabling, they can complete it within, well, let's say half the time, 2.5 hours, and then passing it on for you and taking a 5-hour task that would have been 5 hours for you to, make sure you're double checking over all the information so it's all accurate, down to 15 minutes.
And the one thing about what I am seeing within the space with AI is there still needs to be a human involved. As you say, we're condensing the processing time, so to speak, on information and process and tasks. But we still need to make sure that we're empowering and educating people to vet the output. One of the biggest things that I see where it clearly shows AI has been used, whether it's social media content or emails, is you read it and you think, well, hang on, that's not what we talked about if it was an email summarizing a conversation. The people that are using AI need to vet it, need to in their own manner understand clearly, this is what I need, it's representing what I'm expecting, versus not understanding or reading it properly.
Exactly. So let's wrap up. We've gone through quite a few stats this time,
Yes.
and we've gone through quite a little bit more in depth around some of the different areas, some of the terminology that we use at KPO and BPO. Again, common play for us. So, and I think that, look, there's, like always, it's exciting times ahead. There's lots of opportunities which are constantly presenting themselves for us, as not just us as a business, but industries, because things are continuing to grow, things are continuing to move forward. AI opportunities are there if you're able to seize them and understand that you're not using them to replace the human. You're using them to, like you said, when you
Enhance the human.
enhance the human. Exactly. So I look forward to our catch up next month.
Yes.
I think hopefully we're all feeling better. I've managed to hold back not coughing at all. And so I'm going to, once we stop, I'm going to go into the corner and choke a little bit. Yeah, I look forward to the months that's ahead, and thank you to everyone that tunes in and listens to the podcast. If you're driving or you watch the podcast on YouTube, appreciate all the feedback that you've been giving us, because with the feedback that we receive, we're able to deliver content to you that can be considered more relevant.
And as always, if there are any further or additional questions, please reach out, whether it be through our Contact Us page on our website or to David or I personally.
Yes, excellent. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, David.
Thank you all. We'll talk next month.
Thanks. Bye now.